Yeah, I've been eagerly awaiting that because every time that we have a client that comes on board uh, who needs subscriptions, I'm like, do we tell them to hold out just a little bit longer for this golden day of native Magento or not Magento Shopify subscriptions, and we really have up till now always pushed everyone toward. We experimented with a few options. Recurly was the one that we kind of not Recurly. We use that outside of Shopify. Recharge is the one that we've
Recharge.
really
That's the
kind of
big one.
ended up
I see
pushing
a
clients towards
lot
a
of
lot.
people running into issues with recharge, and like I see a lot of people post on that about Twitter. Like,
Recharge has challenges. Without naming names, we've used some of their competitors and they're worse. So
okay,
you know, so
yeah.
it's like the thing is, before I first worked with subscriptions for the first time, I'm like, oh, how hard can it be? You just charge somebody every month. Like, uh, I really don't know how to explain to someone who hasn't literally written subscription code how complex and thorny this gets. Like, it doesn't seem like it should be that bad, but
Yeah.
it is a naughty problem when you get into all the nuances and edge cases of pausing and rescheduling and fixing the recharge or renewal dates, like that's a common day of the month, like all the
Manual
individual things.
overrides and all sorts of
Right,
stuff. Yeah.
right. Changes in payment methods and dunning to update your credit card information when their number
Right.
changes, and
Right.
it's
It's
like a Shrek.
gnarly.
There's like layers and layers.
Yeah. Yeah, and it seems like there's still some issues with. I haven't worked with it too closely, but it seems like there's issues with migrating into the new
Yeah, and
native
so that's
functionality. And
yeah. I kind of dropped the lead earlier, but yeah, that's the you know a lot of our clients aren't ready to move to that new platform until it's more clearly tested and ready to go. I think if we did have new clients who were just launching a store, I think we would definitely go with the subscription. Uh, well, actually, you really have no choice now because when all their partners that ran subscriptions through the that were on the App Store launch as kind of the simultaneous launch, all of their old versions of their apps just dropped off the App Store simultaneously. So actually, you have no choice but to use the new model going forward.
right, right,
Um, but but I think that's a good thing. It's definitely better to build on that in the future.
yeah. So most of your current clients that are doing subscription stuff are on Recharge. Do you have
Mhm.
any that are on and are most of them on Shopify or any that are on Magento as well?
So we do have actually one of our biggest subscription clients is on Magento, and we actually use we don't use a SaaS or like an external like service there. We actually use the Paradox Lab subscription module, which is
Right,
fantastic. So
right.
if you're going to run subscriptions on Magento, I highly recommend that module. It's not a cheap module, but it's totally pays for itself off. I don't work for Paradox Labs, but this is my little free advert for them here.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Now
do
that you
a really
mention
good
it,
job with that.
I think I remember seeing you guys tweeting about that at one point.
Mhm.
So is that one a lot better than like Recharge for different things that you'd need to do?
So I mean, it's hard to say because they're so different. I mean, one is a module that fits right into Magento, and so there's definitely advantages to that. You can customize and extend the behavior however you want, and that was really important for this one client of ours. They actually considered going on Shopify when they've been on Magento one, and a number of years ago now, we took over their site and they replatformed them onto Magento 2, and we considered Shopify for them at that point. But they do a lot of really nuanced stuff with their subscriptions, and they want to really fine tune how it works in a
Hmm.
way that would have been a nightmare to do on any. I mean, even with the new subscriptions platform, like you want to have fine grained control over exactly how it's working, and
Hmm.
so that's where Magento with the Paradox Labs module is great because we can extend and override that behavior however we need.
Hmm.
At the same time, there's an advantage of just having a SaaS tool that just does it if you don't
Hmm.
need that.
Yeah. What are some of those things that they're doing to really get in there and override and do some unique things with subscriptions? To the extent that you can share
Yeah,
any of that.
yeah. So I'm trying to think of a good example. So one option is, and this has improved over time with the SaaS platforms, though it's still not fantastic. And they've actually changed this, but actually, I mean, I can say the client's Munchpak. They've they're on, we have no NDAs with saying they're our client, but they used to offer a preferences option where, and it's a snack pack, like you get like a box with of like snacks delivered with snacks from all around the world,
Mm,
and they used to offer a
that
preferences
sounds
option where you
great.
could, yeah, you should, yeah, go buy Munchpak.
I should
Um,
go check that out.
um, but they used to have a preferences option where you could say, I want salty snacks and I don't want fish flavored snacks, which I mean, in other parts of the world, that seems like weird, like for an American palate, but there are fish flavored, like chips, for example, they're sold. But like you
That's
can say,
wild.
I don't want this or I do want this. And being able to keep track of that kind of custom options on the subscriptions in the past, when we were first launching this, was kind of a weak point for a lot of those out of the box or like Shopify app based subscriptions.
Mm,
Even now, it would be a little bit trickier for us to include that than it was on Magento.
gotcha. So having stuff like product option, like options on the product kind of
Yeah,
object.
yeah. You can do that, but I mean, really, that's almost a Shopify limitation intrinsically. You can do custom options on products, but it's all really buried under the hood, and
Mm.
so there's not a lot of first class support for that. Where it's just standard with Magento.